All right, let's take a look at what I picked up today. Um, if you look, I picked up this Flintstones Hot Rock Robbery, and it is a reading related book. So, to Dexter from Miss Faliniola, whatever. Um, but you know what? Another one that I can pick up and read when I want. Also, this. This is the. Let's take a look at it this way. This is the official guide to the Fantastics. You got the Avenger, or not the Avenger, the Shadow, the Avenger, Doc Savage, fully is illustrated, 8 pages of full color kind of thing. And if you look, it really goes through and kind of talks about each thing. It gives prices of different stuff at the time. There's some of the color pages they talk about. But it was pretty neat looking with Doc Savage, especially on the cover. And this looks like it was, let's see if I can get a date on it for y'all. Not really seeing one, but I'm sure it's in there somewhere. Well, I'm sure on here somewhere it'll probably tell me. But I thought that was pretty neat for the time period. Now, I picked up a whole bunch of non-sports cards and even some sports cards. I picked up more football related stuff from my time period. And I'll start with, I picked up these Avengers cards. This comes out of a 1997, I think it is, set where they reprinted a lot of the original Avengers cards. Because if you look, this is the Series 2. I remember having a promo of these, but never did see the cards out anywhere, so pretty neat cards. Absolutely love Diana Rigg, so she's just perfect for that spot. So I picked up those. Also, maybe looking at there's a card show coming in my area on Saturday, so maybe hopping into that one for about an hour or so. Picked up these Battlestar Galactica. These are, to my knowledge, I think they're 97 or 90, somewhere in that. I want to say they're just redone. You got Boomer, you got Starbuck, you got Apollo. Pretty sharp looking car. I don't like the landscaping style. I kind of wish it was the other way. I get that they wanted to add the 2 pictures on the side. I kind of wish they would have done the pictures on the back more. But if you look at this one of Shiva, she actually is on the back like that, which is a great shot of her that way. But also on the front, they kind of copy that. And then you look here, she's got 2 different cards in this. I don't know, it's different cards, so I don't know. Maybe they gave like 2 cards to everybody. Serena. Lieutenant Athena, which is probably my favorite of them. You have Boxy. Now, I keep thinking Dr. Selick comes from the 1980 series, because so does Captain Troy. So I'm taking they did both series in a card set is what they ended up doing in these. So I'm interested in finding these, because this would be actually interesting to find, to get what's left of those. Now this is sort of along the same lines. They reprinted the Lost in Space ones. You got Guy Williams, Angela Cartwright there. You got them actually teamed together. Mom and Dad ready to go fight. Mark Goddard. Never fear, Smith is here. A little shot of the robot. Of course, the robot. Martha Kristen. Never fear, Smith is here. It must be a theme in that with Will. The Woman of Lost in Space. And there's Mom. I thought this one was interesting because you really don't see that this much. Is actually somebody actually in there doing all this stuff, so that was actually kind of neat. Again, I was buying these at like I'd say each of these cards come out to maybe like 60 cents a piece, so that wasn't a bad deal. Just kind of put together some of these when I seen them. The guy had put it together like this. Now these, I think they're the, what is it? Are they the, I'm trying to remember, it's the Firepower, or maybe the Firepower, or it's the Outburst ones. I'm trying to remember if it's Outburst it's called, or Firepower. I'm trying to remember. Somebody just did show them when I was watching the video. But like that one I didn't think I had, because I do have a bunch of these, like 70% of it. Dark Side I didn't have. But the way this person had it, they had 9 grouped together under the Superman, all the ones. And I don't think I got that Superboy either, so. And this is Superman with the mullet years, so you know. And then you go from Superman, and then you go into the Batman family ones. So you get Nightwing, Huntress. I don't know why they stuck her in there, but Black Canary is part of, I guess maybe they needed the extra. Robin. Another Robin. Another Robin. My boy Batman. And I want to say maybe at least one of these Batmans I didn't have, so, and a couple of the other ones. So I'm hoping between everything there's enough there for me to pick up some more of that set without arm and a leg kind of thing. Yeah, these are neat because these are the toy cards. This one is Classic Toys. They tell you history of the toys. This is a Flip Your Wig game of the Beatles. Tells you about it when it come out, everything else and stuff. Then you got the Monkey Mobile. Tells you when it come out. And this is your Man from Uncle game. And you got another Beatles one. the John Doe. And you have your James Bond Aston Martin. The Thing Coin Bank. This is our Paul Doll. Napoleon Solo Gun. Man from U.N.C.L.E. again. This is the Munsters card game. And the last is our Lost in Space game. So again, it just covers all the classic games. And if you look at the back, what it does is it gives you a year, gives you something on it. And it's kind of funny because it gives you what it was valued at that time. And even though that's neat to see, you got to figure these are 93. And some of those things don't go for that price anymore. So it's kind of like you just got to... Now, I did pick up quite a bunch of card supplies and other stuff and things like that. This next one comes out in 1979. This is a rock and roll card set. It is divided up into Village People, Kiss, the Babies, Queen. I'm trying to remember who else was in there. I think it's like 4 or 5 different bands, but this one, the guy had it put together with all the Kiss ones. And since at the time I grew up listening to Kiss, that appealed to me. I wanted to build this set anyway because I enjoy Kiss back in the day, as well as I'm a big Queen fan. Love Queen. So these are pretty neat, and they're in spectacular shape. And they usually average easily $5+ Graded ones go for like crazy. And some of these, if you look at this is, Ace. If you look at this, Paul Stanley, look at the corners on that. That's a clean card. Nice looking. See, it's got the Village People being put together on the back. But these are really sharp looking cards. I'll top load them right now, but I'll put them in one touches later as I go. I put everything that goes before like 1989 and back. I try to put all of those in one touches because they are my older cards, and a lot of times they're harder and harder to get. Now, last but not least, now I was trying to go through his 76, I want to say 76, 77, right in that period of time. I was picking up a lot of the Vikings. Again, this is kind of the years that, as I grew up, when I first started being a Vikings fan. Sammy White there. Again, this falls right into those couple years. I picked my brother up some cards too, because these are the only kind of sports cards I want. It falls in this kind of time period. Look, this is all my Vikings right here. There's Sammy White. There's Chuck Foreman. Chuck Foreman's always a good one I like to get. And as you can tell, you can see the changeover of the years. This is, I think, the year before. Again, I like going on YouTube and watching the old football games, and they're more entertaining than anything new. And a lot of these guys are going to be playing. And I got these, I'm talking about a stack of probably 30-something cards for $10. He just went ahead and gave them to me for the whole stack that way. And I guarantee it was more than that, because he had them at 4 for $1. But at the rate I was going, I was probably going to spend more than that. So he just gave it to me like that. There's another Chuck Foreman in there. Receiving leader. Here's my Vikings team one. Somebody was checking them off as they go. I got to go in there and see if I can clean that up. I'm doing a lot of card cleaning. So I'm going to see if I can take that out of there and get rid of some of that. Now, if you recognize this fella, Ed Marinero. And to my knowledge, he eventually goes on and plays on Hill Street Blues, I think it is, as a cop. And starts sort of an acting career at that point. So that's actually his, quote, celebrity card. I also got a few people that are not Vikings, but they fall in that time period. I remember. Sammy White there. Ricky Young. Record breaker out here. So again, that's all the Vikings. Now these are some people anybody in my age group will recognize. Picked up this Dan Dierdorf. Jack Youngblood. I picked him up, and I picked my brother up the Fred Dryer one, since he's a big Fred Dryer fan. And if you recognize, that's John Matuzak. And if I remember right, Matuzak is the one that played, he played Sloth, not Sloth, is it Sloth? On the Goonies. I think he's the one they ended up having play it. And then Dan Dierdorf. And another Jack Youngblood. I have a lot more to go through. Over at his shop, I'd like to go through and just start and go through. He had a lot all the way up into the early 80s, so I was interested in doing like it went from like mid sort of 70s, I want to say 75 maybe, all the way up until it got to like maybe mid 80s or so. But he's got them so cheap, and they're actually, sometimes he's got 3 Jack Youngbloods, and you just pick the best one of them. And if you're wanting to build up a set or anything, it's kind of neat. So, well, that was everything. I picked up a bunch of supplies, but that was the biggest bulk of what I picked up and everything. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked all the cards. I appreciate all the thumbs up, likes, subscribers I've been getting. And I will talk to y'all later. And y'all have a great weekend, or great rest of the week and a weekend. Have a good one.